सभी को नमस्ते, namaskara, vanakkam, adab, sat sri akal, and a very, very fresh good morning indeed to all the ladies and gentlemen present here. Well, quickly to introduce myself, my name is Nafyata, and I am going to be your presenter on the day two. So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, we extend a very, very warm welcome to all the panelists, speakers, and attendees to the second day of FinSec 2022. We are all honored to have all of you here with us again today. Well, I hope all our audience had a great experience yesterday because I did. We had a lot of learning from all the eminent leaders. For today, we have also planned a bunch of interesting plenaries, keynotes, parallel track sessions, workshops, and panel discussions. We are overjoyed to see such a positive response from all of you at the social media. So, thank you so much once again for using our virtual photo booth option to click the photos and sharing your experience on social media. So, please continue doing that as well today as we have the official hashtag, which is hashtag FinSec2022. And please do not forget to tag DSCI on Twitter. And yes, before we carry on with our today's session, I request all of you to visit the exhibition booths to know the latest technologies, service offerings, and security solutions by our exhibitors, partners, and sponsors. And please get profiled on the FinSec 2022 leaderboard. The most engaged attendee will stand a chance to win a free subscription of 1 year for the NCOE utility tools worth 45 grand. Well, yes, I spoke about that yesterday as well. So please log in as you stand a chance for a free subscription for 1 year, yes, on the NCOE utility tools worth the 45K. So, yes, once again, I would like to thank all our exhibitors, sponsors, and partners for making FinSec 2022 a huge success. And now, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome the first set of speakers for the first plenary session for the day. Our esteemed speakers are going to talk in detail about quantum capabilities for financial security. So please help me in welcoming virtually Mr. Nagendra Nagaraja, founder and CEO, QPI Technology, Mr. Sunil Gupta, co-founder and CEO, QuNu Labs Private Limited, and Mr. Vinayak Godse, Senior Vice President, DSCI, who are all present here virtually. So a very fresh good morning to all the gentlemen here. And let's get started as the topic is quantum capabilities for financial security.
Good morning.
Yeah, very good morning.
Thank you. And good morning, all. So, thank you for setting the context of the day and specifically for this session and what are the their start session on a quantum capability and how the quantum capability can really making their headways in last 3 4 years of time with some of the key innovators that we have in our country, like QuNu Lab, pioneer in this area in this particular place in India, and now QPI technology basically. So we are really privileged. I'm really privileged to have getting both of them together to understand what they have been trying to do and how that innovation can be relevant and critical for the financial sector overall, and more importantly for the security of the financial sector. So I've been seeing in other parts of the globe, people are making plan for the quantum quantum, paradigm that we are going into and kind of piloting to identify. So we are certainly seeing some of the implementation, some of the use cases being developed in India on this particular platform, on this particular technology ecosystem with the players that we have on this particular. So what I would really like to uh, put into this particular discussion is to first of all understand the work for the better understanding of this benefit of the people joining here. What do you mean by quantum capability? First of all, we'll spend the time there basically, how they are becoming relevant to the various different industry sector. Until now, people mostly talk about critical sector, but how they are would be increasingly becoming important for the financial sector as well, and how those capabilities can be leveraged for building the better critical security for this decade, basically. So with this, I will like to really start with Sunil. Sunil, help us understand this for benefit of these participants. what are those capabilities basically, which are becoming now capabilities which are now coming to the enterprise level capabilities basically, and people are leveraging that. So what you have been doing and what kind of capabilities are coming, and how can people practically leveraging that actually?
Thank you, Vinayak. Thank you for the DSCI for hosting us this morning. So I will, Vinayak, answer this question by taking probably a minute in taking people providing a little bit of a data, right? A few years ago, the encryption amount of data that used to get encrypted was probably about 20%, right? Now it has gone up because everybody realized that the risk of not encrypting the data, and there was a discussion around encrypt, encrypt, encrypt. I think today a significant amount of data gets encrypted, even in the public cloud, and I think it's somewhere around 60, 70% today. But the challenge is that uh, when you encrypt your data, we foresee a problem that uh, nobody attackers never of course now hackers are behind encrypted data, right? Because they are they want to access all the confidential information. So what they do is they harvest the encrypted data. Now the challenge is that uh, hackers normally do not have enough compute power, or I would say capability to do a brute force to break the cipher. So cipher, like today, if you talk about AES encryption, 128 or 256 is pretty much secure, right? But the challenge comes in where there are shortcuts are done in generating the encryption keys. So we have seen in the last decade there are at least 10 very prominent attacks that have happened, led to billions of dollars of loss, where hackers have been able to find patterns, right, in the keys, right? Basically, these patterns lead to our weak keys, right? And then the hackers get access to those patterns, break those keys, get access to private keys, and then they go behind the data. Now you'll be wondering that we all know about that the amount of breaches that have started happening in the last probably few years have gone up significantly. So what happens to the data that gets breached? What happens to the data? Some sometimes people dispose of the encrypted data in a responsible manner, right? So all the data that is accessed, harvested, eventually gets bought on the dark web, right? By hackers, and then they try to break that. So we as a QuNu Labs said, in the future, when when the hackers will harvest encrypted data, and they will try to break, can we generate a keys, right? Basically, we said, can we generate keys and manage keys and distribute these keys in a manner that hackers will not never be able to break it today, even in the future when they have the quantum computers in their hand. So basically, the idea of QuNu Lab was make access to the keys and breaking the encryption keys almost impossible, right? So what we went and did is built a set of products. First one, which is a quantum random number generator. Now this is a holy grail. If you ask me, generating random numbers is not easy, right? And today, uh, one of the very famous, very popular, very good uh, firewall provider in 2017, he had a big hack, right? It got published because they were using a pseudo random number generators with the hard coded keys, right? And then that attack got famous as DHUK. Don't use hard coded keys, right? So so what we have seen is that random numbers are pseudo random numbers are very weak. They have, in fact, to the level that you will know that FIPS compliant boxes, which is a which is a they also have vulnerabilities around pseudo random numbers. So we went ahead and said we will build quantum random number generator, which is offers a high entropy at a high throughput, right? So perfect randomness at a high throughput, which can be used now by cloud-based applications. This could be used by IoT devices, and I will talk about the use cases later. So that is our first product, and this is available both as an appliance as well as a service on a cloud. Now, second product is about how do I replace public keys? Because at the end of the day, what happened? Hackers are going to now harvest public keys, break those public keys using Shor's algorithm and quantum computers that are going to be available soon, and then they will access that, right? So one is vulnerability. So you patch the vulnerabilities through using a quantum random number generators, and then you want to replace the public key cryptography with symmetric keys. That is where our second product comes in. It's called quantum key distribution, where we generate quantum secure a pair of keys not shared over the network, but are generated at two ends of the network over any distance that you want. And these keys can then be used to encrypt and decrypt data, right? So that's the second thing. And third one is, of course, our product in terms of uh, uh, key vault, right? So you want to make sure that all these assets, keys, tokens, APIs, you want secure, which can't be hacked by hackers, even in the future. So we said we will offer a forward security. Then what we did is, using these three key capabilities, we have built interesting solutions like quantum secure VPN. Now today we know that VPN has so many vulnerabilities. So now today we have the one of our solution where we can use a post quantum crypto algorithms and create a tunnel, right? Which cannot be hacked or accessed by any hackers today or tomorrow, right? I'll stop here and then probably
Yeah.
get into more detail later.
Yeah, but thank you. I think if you really look at the quantum as a concept and idea had been in the discussion, but way you build these, so there are four key distinct capabilities which are there out there to use by any organization, especially financial sector. One is the quantum random generation, which will replace the pseudo random generation. Second is the key distribution, and then quantum resilience platform as well. I'll certainly talk about entropy as a service, Sunil, during the course of this
Okay.
discussion.
Okay, sure.
So, uh, Nagendra, I think you are building very interesting. You are taking the approach in a very different direction, basically. So, mostly focus on data center, but also focused on some of those very core hardware specific capabilities also in this one. Help us understand the work that you have been doing and the kind of team that you have built for the doing this kind of work.
So thanks, Vijay. So basically, Vinayak, thanks, Vinayak. So basically, what we have today is we are building hardware, we are building the data center manager, and we are building something like a single photon detector. As Sunil suggested, we require QKD and the secure transmission and other things. For that, the core thing is a single photon detector. We are building that hardware in India. And the second thing is we are building quantum computer itself. Okay, so end of this year, you will be having a 25 qubit testbed in our office. Okay, so and very soon in March, April, we'll be having 50 qubits testbed. So we can actually do a lot of this modeling of security modeling with real quantum computer there with a scaled down qubit. And what we have in future is our research. We have around close to 10 PhDs working for us who have done entire quantum computer in their entire life. These are PhDs in quantum computer and security and the material sciences. So what we have is we're trying to build a 4,000 qubit spin qubit based system in India. Okay, so that means to say that gives. See, one thing is about security is all about. If you look at who is the greatest professional in the security, these are ethical hacker who can really figure out that security is really secure. So to really attain that, you require real quantum computer. Okay, so you never know. Like today, we have a Grover's algorithm, which is known, which can break RSA, which can break AES in seconds, using a real quantum computer. And tomorrow, you never know what kind of algorithms people can design with quantum computer, right? So for that, you really require a real quantum computer to experiment with, and that is what we are creating. This is India's most powerful quantum computer, which will be in our office by end of this year. That is one thing. And second thing is that's on the processing side. And the second thing is on the communication side. The processing can be good, but as Sunil suggested, QKD, if it is a weak, quantum key distribution is weak, then as he told, like we can't have a the fixed pseudo random numbers. Okay, you need to really have fixed key or the hard coded key. Similarly, QKD really required to be encrypted at single photon level. Okay, so what we are building is a single photon detector, and the big and the toughest part, other part is a single photon source. So that should make QKD very secure. So with the real quantum computer and the single photon detector and single photon source, we have made sure that we have a processing capability and we have a communication capability, and we would like to provide this technology to all the players across India and the world, so that financial sector is really secure. And as you told, entropy as a service can be provided on our cloud, which is again secure cloud, what we have, Kipai cloud, and then we have a transaction level security, which you are working with already with big banks. Okay, one of the big banks is our client, and apart from this, we are working on detecting anti-money laundering, and then we are using this for fraud detection, and we are using it for actually portfolio optimization. And although it's not related to security, quantum computer has much wider application in the finance, and security is one of them. And these four or five building blocks, what we are doing, directly affects the financial sector in terms of security, and we'll be very glad to offer them as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and that tells fundamentally what is happening and how people are business for it, could be leveraging, or some of them are leveraging as of now. So, my question to both of you, and probably we'll start with Sunil, is so this is a new paradigm altogether, right? So there's some core capability, and on top of that, you build some operating capability, and then you build some application level thing, and then very different players can join. Somebody can maybe building core, somebody maybe building, like for example, operating system, end up a environment, somebody can build application top of it, and somebody can take it to the market basically. So Sunil, I think you have some experience of you are contributing to the ecosystem, and there's some players are also working with you. So help us understand the ecosystem development around the quantum computing in India, and especially from the security perspective.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So ecosystem is always very critical, right? Whenever the new technology comes up, because you can't do it alone, right? So you need. So today, when we started with, of course, we were trying to build hardware first, right? Because for quantum secure communication and cryptography, hardware is very important, because real cryptography happens at, and especially in the quantum side, you have to you leverage quantum physics, right? And so there you have to get into a single photon regime, right? And then we have to encode those photons, and then detect efficiently those photons using a single photon detector, right? So of course, ecosystem of academia and industry is very important to start with, right? Because what we're doing is it requires a proof of science, right, before we do a proof of tech. So of course, a very important part in this particular domain, I think, is a very strong academia and industry partnership to really understand science of it, uh, and really translate science into design and a product that can be actually taken to the market, right? So I think that was very important to start with. And then when we started doing hardware, uh, you build designs, you do simulations, right? You need AMI, EMC expertise. Quantum regime is a very low noise system. You have to build hardware keeping in mind there's a high precision, low noise system. So you have to take consideration of EMI, EMC, and you need that expertise. You need to build hardware in a very specific way. Building a security product, you want to make sure that your product itself is not insecure, right? Which means that our architecture level, creating an island architecture, so that even if somebody gets into one part of the system, can't go and access the part where you are generating keys, right? So I think as we went ahead in a journey, I mean, we kept bringing in the partners, right partners, like-minded partners. And then of course, then we have to build a ecosystem of guys who will build PCBs, who will give us take our components, populate those, give us a CKD SKD form, and then we actually did a mechanical engineering, put it all together, and so on. So we are happy that it is a long journey, but we built an ecosystem of academia, industry, ourselves, and also I'll say vendors. Another important part was to, I would say, clients, right? Now, when you do this such type of technology, which is so early, I would say, right, and so advanced, you need early adopters, right? And these early adopters come and work with you, try to identify use cases, do some sort of a co-creation, right? So we were lucky and fortunate to have some of those, early adopters who came, like Cisco came in. We had did something with NetApp. We did it with Intel. So some of the marquee clients came together, helped us accelerate our journey. We learned a lot from them in terms of integrating. These boxes are whatever we're doing. Do not stand. They're not standalone equipment, right? These are the infrastructure that is going to integrate and sit in the existing crypto infrastructure, right? So getting the right interfaces, right protocols, all that something was very important. Yeah, but I think a lot of learning. But eventually, I think what our success today is probably this ecosystem that we built, and how we have integrated and pre-integrated our products and systems into that infrastructure.
And
Yeah,
also there will be some companies which can leverage your capabilities and take to the market as well, right? So around capability you are building, you can also build a commercial possibilities for other companies as well, right?
that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
So yes, of course, that also happened as we as we went along.
yeah,
We got our first customer from Middle East, right? Who, after looking at all the key players in this market, of course, two or three key players in the market, they came to us. They liked our openness and flexibility and knowledge. So that was very important, because somebody has to test your product. Because in this technology, there's no standard labs and certification bodies today yet,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Standards also emerging. So you early on need somebody who was ready to spend that energy and effort to test your product. Like, for example, this particular customer of ours actually spent a lot of effort to do 5 million keys generation, right? And that gave us a confidence that the hardware that we've built has worked without failure over a long period of time, and the keys are random, keys are robust. And that is where I think some of these clients and partners really play a very important role as you go along,
yeah,
right? I will just repeat that IPL statement that I like, Dream 11. When the dream is big, you're never alone, right?
yeah.
There are always people who come along, and that's exactly what happened, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So I think,
I have seen that closely. Like 3 4 years back, even talking about quantum computing with some of the researchers in this country, right? Academic research country. So they would say to you that you don't talk to it now. It's 10 years down the line. So why you are talking it now? Basically. So, but that has changed. The scene has changed quite significantly in last 4 5 years of time. So Nagendra, I had seen you building a lot of partnership, right?
Yes.
So that tells us the that tells us the trust that increasing trust that is coming to this capability, which probably was not there 4 5 years back.
Absolutely.
Help us understand how this ecosystem is responding to you, and you are contributing to build the ecosystem.
Sure. Thanks, Vinayak. So basically, if you look at the kind of partnership we're building, it's cross-border partnerships. Like, for example, we have opened center in US and center in India, centers in Finland. And what we have is we have close to around 8 partners who are working with us from Europe today. And we are all integrating that in a test bed in India, where we have an open test beds of 5 to 6 quantum test bed that will be formed in the company here. Okay, so that gives the ecosystem, complete ecosystem, including CDAC and DOT and even like partners like Sunil. Okay, so where they can test a lot of their security thing on real quantum computer. And we are getting not only the horizontal, I mean, the partners who are helping us out, but also the customers. Like, these are big banks, very relevant to this particular conclave is a banks. We have one of the biggest banks as our customers. We are working with Snapchat Bank, and we are having at least 7 to 8 other banks who are interested in software solution what we are building right now. So this includes portfolio optimization, fraud detection, and entropy as a service. So the ecosystem is very welcoming, and what we are figuring out is not only it is welcoming, but it is very commercially rewarding, and there is a huge demand for this. So if you look at all the people who will be interested in this, fintech is a very big sector in India, and we have multiple startups and established players, and they will all be requiring sooner or later this technology, because world is moving towards that, and everybody will be aligning towards the frontier of technology. And we find that there is huge ecosystem push that is coming in. Earlier, when we started the company, like we thought like, okay, so we will be doing this. We have two or three wings. Like one is data center management, AI, and quantum computing. I thought like quantum computing will be in a research stage for some time, but that's not what it is. What we are figuring out is most of our partnership and orders and the customers are in quantum computer. And we find even like the biggest financial sectors, they are moving very fast. Okay, so and the center of this financial sector is a core application, their core application on financial management and also security. Okay, so the security not only in terms of encryption and authentication or access control, but they also require some kind of a financial security in terms of fraud detection, or maybe providing the secure transactions. Okay, so that's how the ecosystem is building up, and we are forming a very sound ecosystem in India. We are seeing like with all our fellow startups and the big companies, it's a very vibrant ecosystem, I should say, and things are moving very smoothly for us.
Yeah.
And thanks to DSCI also, like bringing about this institute like DSCI, so that also add to the ecosystem.
Thank you. And so I see there is definitely momentum from market is coming for adopting these capabilities, and you already have some initial plan for that. And I remember when in Europe, I was a part of another meeting, and CEO there came together to set up a quantum initiative to just understand and see what they need to do. But when it comes to India, when we talk to some of those companies here in India, and especially the commercial sectors company, basically, so they always tell us, "Okay, this is not for us. This is for the critical sector, not for us, basically for the commercial sector." So there's still I see barrier in terms of the market that people are still seeing this as a very distance capability, which may not have relevance to the what we do it now, or probably what we'll be doing it for next 2 3 years of time. So Sunil, how do you crack that? Means how do you basically work on that
Yeah.
actually?
No, you're right. It was an initial reaction, but I think we realized that probably we are not done a better job of evangelizing, bringing down the use cases. It takes us time, but now today we have banking, healthcare, drones, fintech in terms of blockchain security. I think we have clients, in all those sectors. And the way it happened is that when you go and sit and look at the challenges, and you without pushing a quantum, right? So somewhere in our domain, I think the challenge was that people you used to connect what we are doing with quantum computers, right? And quantum computers, of course, most of the publication talks about 10 to 30 years. But I think the moment we started having a discussion around your current vulnerabilities and how the current capabilities can quantum security capabilities can address some of the current problems, not the future problems, right? That is where I think the key difference happened. I'll give you an example, right? When the blockchain customers came, a fintech, right? They're having a billions of dollars on their blockchain, right? Mortgage loans. I mean, these guys say, hey, at the end of the day, I'm blockchain is nothing but a distributed trust, right? Now there's no centralized bank who's going to give you the money in case you lose the key or you lose money. So so we are moving towards a distributed trust. And in distributed trust, at the end of the day, every node security, whether it's a public private key, is a security, right? If that is weak, then hackers will just moment they crack a public key or a private key, then you're basically sitting duck, right? There's no security. So as we started talking about and saying, hey, don't worry about your keys. First, I think foremost is make sure that your keys are random, right? So that is where you talked about our Cosmos, where entropy as a service came into play. We built a service around it, and so that which can be easily integrated into most of the crypto infrastructure, right? So that is the way we started. That hey, take a small step first, make your current encryption algorithms more keep using them, but make them more random and more secure. Second step is how do you can see when you communicate between chains, right? Then is where the security in transit comes into play. Now, because these are not a dedicated private network, so QKD may not apply everywhere. That is where a quantum secure algorithms, right? replacing the RSA and elliptical curve cryptography algorithms, and in the IPsec, right, and building up secure tunnels, right, quantum secure tunnel. That became a hot offering, right, for us, and that is where a lot of customers said, yeah, I want to do that. Third problem was cloud applications, right? We know that today a lot of cloud applications, every enterprise uses cloud applications, but cloud applications run on a virtualized environment. Now, virtualized environment, what happens is you have a hardware, host hardware, and that is generating the entropy pool. Now, with so much virtualization and hundreds of application trying to get this keys, right? Most of the virtualized hardware actually get entropy starved, right? So what happens because of that? They start reusing those random numbers, or they start reusing the keys. So some of these very known hacks in the world happened because of that. So now what we go and do is that offer our service, Cosmos service, which is Entropy as a service, where a cloud application can use our random number pool in an easy way, and thus they are never entropy starved. And they can use these random numbers the way they want, right? And the size of random numbers they want to generate their keys. So that is suddenly taking a cloud security, application level security in cloud to a very different level, right? So these were some of the steps that you did, and people started realizing now, okay. And then the third one was digital certificates, especially for the banks and financial sector, right, or for any matter, right, any industry. Digital certificates are long-term assets. You build a digital certificates, it remains there at least for a year, and at some places even 10 years. Now, these are again based on old cryptography. If hackers are able to harvest that and they get quantum computers from Nagendra end of the year, just imagine what happens. They will uh, break that algorithm, get the digital certificates, and then once I have a digital certificate, I will authenticate myself into any network, and I do whatever I want to do. Just imagine that scenario, right? It will be chaos, right? So it is very important that the digital certificate that you're doing, you have two options. Make sure that you're using a random numbers to seed those keys. Better option is to replace those classical crypto with a post quantum crypto algorithm. You'll be surprised that the companies like digicert and so on today, who are the leaders in the digital certificates, they have started offering a hybrid certificates today. So you can actually get a classical certificate and a quantum certificate. And in fact, some of the browsers like Firefox and so on, probably next few months and probably by the end of the year, they will actually offer a quantum certificate plugin, right, in their browsers for people to use quantum digital certificates to authenticate, right? So that is where the world is moving at a very fast pace, and we are playing a role to accelerate. And you see, our vision and our mission was, how do we accelerate world transition towards quantum secure future, right? Because you can't stop Nagendra, right? He will go faster. So if he is able to launch his computer faster, just imagine what happens.
Yeah.
So we thought hackers will take a lot of time, but now the innovators in India are building computers, and they are probably trying to equip hackers faster than we can protect. So it's a race between now two
Yeah.
segments in India. One is trying to build faster, better quantum computers, and we are trying to help financial institutes to build security, before hackers get unlimited compute power.
Yeah. And thank you,
So it's
Sunil.
very interesting time.
Yeah, yeah. And thank you for
Yeah,
now the building that picture and giving that picture ki what is going to happen in coming to 3 years of time, and how for entire security the quantum security or would become a very significant part in coming future, and most of the area and most of very fundamental areas like this digital certificate you
yes,
talk about, that browser level plugin for the quantum safe certificate you talk about, and how people have started already doing it basically. So this reality is certainly and that's what definitely I'm kind of a concluding remark which we can take it as a part of this session. And I would also like to take view upon Nagendra. What do you see? And with that, we can really conclude the discussion. I know discussion, every discussion I do in quantum, always think that we should have more time to discuss that basically. So, but we'll keep
Absolutely.
that. So, what do you think that coming to 3 years, the things or the paradigm of a quantum computing will be changing the entire landscape that we see and work in both computing side and security side?
Yes, thanks, Vinayak. So, see, we had one law called Moore's law, where transistor used to double every year or so on hardware. But unfortunately, there is a new era for quantum computer which follows the Navi's law. Okay, so which says that number of qubits or computing capability in quantum computing changes doubly exponential, not even exponential, doubly exponential. That means suddenly when you are in 50 qubits, 1000 qubits is very, very real. And
Yeah.
when you are in 1000 qubits, then million qubits is very much real because it's a doubly exponential law. So basically, when all the people are saying that IBM has highest is 128 qubits, and then we ourselves are working with 50 qubits now. Okay, it will be in our lab. We just ordered, and we have a control circuit built on that. So our researchers are into the semiconductor spin qubit, which is even more scalable than the superconductor qubits. So when all this technology comes, what we see is a very large disruption because this is a core technology. This is not like an application or this is not like a protocol. This is a core technology. Quantum computing is a very core technology which will affect a lot of sectors, including financial sectors are the biggest one to be affected in a positive way, I would say. Okay, today we can build the portfolio of maybe like a few thousand scripts. With quantum computer we can build a portfolio of million scripts. Okay, so when we can build a portfolio of a million script, a DTF having a million component, that means to say that will change the financial sector. Oh, as we know, it will become what should I say? Very stable. That's what I assume. Okay, because with this kind of diversity and I understand a little bit of financials, we can do a lot more better portfolio allocation. Okay, and that will happen in financial sector. Logistics and supply chain is the biggest one which will be affected with quantum computer. Overall, what I see is the speed of disruption or the velocity or acceleration of a disruption will be much higher in quantum computing than in other technologies, and that's coming very fast.
Yeah. And with that, I think really thank you both Sunil and Nagendra for
Vinayak,
joining us today.
sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, Vinayak, I'll take 10 seconds.
Yeah.
To mention this important. While we are the pioneers in this technology, our first award came from DSCI in 2019, saying the most
Yeah.
innovative product award.
Yeah.
That really helped. And I think I want to say that in this forum that while we are the pioneer of the technology, but I think DSCI has really the pioneer in terms of proliferating this technology and making it. And this session is one of the endorsement of that
Yeah,
particular.
then thank you.
Thank
We
you so
thank
much.
you, Sunil, and thank you for nudging me to have this session as well. And thank you, Nagendra. And we
Thanks,
will again join together for another such end of
definitely, definitely,
enlightening.
definitely. Look forward for that, Vinayak and Sunil. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you very much.